Tommy Lee Jones is known for his steely gaze, commanding presence, and no-nonsense approach to Hollywood. With a career spanning decades, he has earned a reputation for brilliance on screen but also for being brutally honest, fiercely private, and at times intimidating to those around him. Yet behind the accolades and iconic roles, there's a story that few have ever heard. The one person in Hollywood Tommy Lee Jones truly could not stand. The tension wasn't trivial, nor was it a fleeting annoyance. It was deep, personal, and lasted years, shaping the way he approached his work, relationships, and even interviews. Hollywood is a world full of collaboration, but it's also a world of clashing personalities. Actors, directors, and producers often have to navigate egos, creative differences, and professional rivalries. For Tommy Lee Jones, that tension reached its peak with a particular co-star, someone whose approach, attitude, or methods pushed him to a breaking point. Sources close to the actor have revealed that this wasn't about jealousy, competition, or a simple misunderstanding. It was a combination of personal clashes, professional frustration, and fundamental differences in how they viewed work, respect, and commitment to the craft. What makes this story even more shocking is that it remained under wraps for years. Fans who have followed Tommy Lee Jones' career know him as disciplined, calm, and even-tempered, but behind the cameras, his patience had limits. The person he despised most wasn't a minor actor, a fleeting colleague, or someone he barely interacted with. It was someone who shared the same projects, often in high-profile films, forcing Tommy Lee Jones to confront the conflict repeatedly. The story reveals not only a personal grudge, but also a side of Tommy Lee Jones that rarely appears in public. A man who knows exactly what he wants in his work and relationships, and who refuses to compromise when his standards are crossed. The question is, who pushed him to his absolute limit, earning his genuine disdain? Tommy Lee Jones is one of Hollywood's most respected actors, celebrated for his intense performances, commanding presence, and unwavering commitment to his craft. From The Fugitive to No Country for Old Men, he has played roles that require focus, precision, and an ability to dominate the screen without ever stealing the scene unnecessarily. Behind this mastery, however, lies a side of him that few fans have ever witnessed, a side shaped by personal standards, professional pride, and an intolerance for behavior that clashes with his principles. And it was this side that led to a long-standing, deeply personal disdain for one particular figure in Hollywood. The tension began on a film set where Tommy Lee Jones had to collaborate closely with someone whose approach to acting, work ethic, or interpersonal relationships frustrated him to the core. Sources familiar with the situation describe the conflict as more than simple disagreements. It was a clash of fundamental values. While Tommy is known for meticulous preparation, professionalism, and focus, the person in question often disrupted the set with antics, laziness, or behavior that Tommy viewed as disrespectful. Each encounter intensified the frustration, turning what might have been minor annoyance into genuine contempt. Those who witnessed the early interactions noted that Tommy didn't express his dislike openly at first. He is notoriously private, choosing to manage conflict quietly and internally. But over time, the strain became visible in subtle ways: curt responses during rehearsals, a refusal to engage in casual conversation, and a body language that conveyed irritation even when words did not. Unlike most actors who might vent publicly or gossip with co-stars, Tommy handled it internally, letting his work speak for itself while keeping a careful distance from the source of his frustration. What makes this situation remarkable is the persistence of the animosity. While many conflicts in Hollywood are fleeting, resolved once filming wraps, this one lingered for years. Tommy Lee Jones didn't just dislike this co-star. He actively avoided interactions whenever possible and maintained a clear boundary professionally. It became known among insiders that any shared project with this person would be fraught with tension, and that Tommy's patience had long since run out. His reputation for discipline and focus only heightened the contrast, making the behavior of the other individual seem all the more intolerable in his eyes. Despite the animosity, Tommy never allowed it to compromise his performance. He continued to deliver the same intensity and dedication audiences expected. separating personal feelings from professional responsibility. But those closest to the set often remarked on the silent battles happening behind the cameras. It wasn't about competition or jealousy, it was a matter of respect, standards, and what Tommy Lee Jones would accept from a colleague. The intensity of the conflict serves as a rare glimpse into the personal boundaries of one of Hollywood's most legendary actors, revealing just how seriously he takes professionalism and integrity. As the years went by, the tension between Tommy Lee Jones and the person he despised only grew more pronounced. It wasn't something that could be easily ignored or swept under the rug, because their paths crossed repeatedly, sometimes on high-profile projects that demanded collaboration, and sometimes in the press, where interactions could be unavoidable. For Tommy, the repeated exposure to someone whose values and work ethic clashed with his own became a source of constant irritation. Friends and colleagues describe him as a man who values focus, discipline, and respect on set above all else. And when he perceived these qualities as lacking in someone else, his frustration was inevitable. Those close to him noted that Tommy handled his dislike with remarkable restraint. Unlike many actors who might let personal feelings spill into public statements, he maintained a calm exterior, keeping his contempt largely private. Yet anyone observant could notice subtle signs, terse answers, pointed facial expressions, and a quiet but palpable distance in group interactions. This wasn't the kind of casual irritation that disappears over time. It was a deliberate, consistent boundary that he maintained to protect his work and personal peace. Tommy Lee Jones wasn't interested in confrontation for its own sake. He simply refused to tolerate behavior that undermined his principles or disrupted the professional environment he valued so highly. Part of the issue stemmed from a fundamental difference in approach. While Tommy immerses himself completely in a role, preparing meticulously and respecting every aspect of production, the person he clashed with reportedly had a more casual, sometimes reckless approach. Scenes that required precision became a source of anxiety for Tommy, who was forced to compensate for his co-stars' inconsistencies. Longtime collaborators recall moments when he would quietly rehearse lines multiple times, or adjust timing in subtle ways, all while maintaining composure, to ensure the production stayed on track. The frustration of constantly covering for someone else's lack of focus intensified the disdain he felt, making collaboration increasingly difficult. Despite this, Tommy remained professional. He never allowed his personal feelings to sabotage a project, a testament to his integrity and work ethic. Co-stars and crew often marveled at his ability to channel irritation into performance, delivering scenes with precision while managing internal conflict silently. The public saw only the result: flawless acting, commanding presence, and the signature intensity that defines Tommy Lee Jones behind the scenes. However, the reality was far more complex, and only a handful of insiders understood the full depth of his distaste for this particular individual. Interestingly, the conflict also reveals a different side of Tommy, a man who is not afraid to set boundaries and uphold standards, even when doing so makes collaboration difficult. Many in Hollywood would have tolerated minor annoyances for the sake of harmony or career advancement. Tommy, however, valued personal and professional integrity over convenience. His approach demonstrates a rare combination of discipline, patience, and uncompromising principles, qualities that have earned him respect, but also occasionally put him at odds with colleagues who did not share his rigor. Ultimately, the story of Tommy Lee Jones' deep-seated dislike is not just about personal animosity. It's about a man who values excellence, professionalism, and respect above all else. It shows how far he is willing to go to protect his craft, maintain personal boundaries, and ensure that his work remains uncompromised, even when faced with repeated challenges from someone he truly could not tolerate. The years of simmering tension eventually shaped the way Tommy Lee Jones approached both his career and his collaborations. Those who have worked closely with him say that his interactions with the individual he despised became a case study in controlled professionalism. Rather than openly expressing frustration or allowing emotions to interfere with his craft, Tommy relied on his disciplined nature to navigate difficult scenes and high-pressure moments. Every take, every rehearsal, every shared scene became a careful balancing act maintain composure, deliver brilliance, and avoid giving his co-star any hint of personal animosity. It wasn't easy. Behind the stoic expression and calm demeanor, there were countless moments of silent irritation. Crew members recall subtle eye rolls, sighs, or quiet mutterings when the other actor made mistakes or disrupted the flow of production. Tommy's disdain wasn't born out of pettiness. It was rooted in his respect for the craft and his unwillingness to compromise the integrity of a project. Acting, for him, was sacred work, and anyone who treated it carelessly naturally drew his ire. Interestingly, this intense dislike also served as motivation. Tommy channeled his frustration into sharper performances, more calculated timing, and a greater attention to detail. He ensured that even in scenes involving the person he disliked most, the final product remained seamless. Fans never realized that what looked like effortless chemistry on screen was often the result of meticulous work to compensate for someone whose professionalism did not meet Tommy's standards. In many ways, the conflict elevated his performances, showing the resilience and dedication that have made him an icon in Hollywood. Yet the personal toll of harboring such strong feelings over an extended period was significant. Tommy has always been known as a private individual, rarely discussing interpersonal conflicts publicly. But those closest to him know that the disdain weighed on him mentally, constantly managing anger, frustration, and disappointment while maintaining a calm public facade required emotional labor that few could imagine. Unlike casual disagreements that fade quickly, this tension was persistent, unavoidable, and deeply personal. Despite all of this, Tommy Lee Jones never let the situation derail his career. He continued taking on challenging roles, earning critical acclaim, and maintaining his reputation as a consummate professional. It's a testament to his discipline that he could separate personal feelings from professional responsibility, ensuring that neither his co-star nor his own emotions interfered with the work at hand. The ability to navigate such a charged relationship while maintaining excellence in performance underscores why he is regarded as one of the finest actors of his generation. Eventually, the story of who Tommy Lee Jones truly hated became known to a select few insiders. While the identity shocked some, it also reinforced the perception of Tommy as a man of high standards, someone who refuses to compromise when it comes to professionalism, respect, and dedication to his craft. This revelation added another layer to his persona, showing that even in an industry built on ego and showmanship, he holds firm to his values, regardless of the personal cost. The revelation of who Tommy Lee Jones truly despised sent shockwaves through Hollywood insiders and fans alike. It wasn't merely a casual dislike, it was a deep, long-lasting animosity that affected how he approached every shared project. While many assumed Tommy's intensity on set was simply part of his on-screen persona, the story revealed that his focus and meticulousness were also a defense mechanism, a way to maintain control in situations where he felt his standards were being challenged. The co-star in question was notorious for behavior that clashed directly with Tommy's values, a lack of preparation, disregard for the craft, and an attitude that Tommy viewed as careless and disrespectful. What makes this tale even more striking is that Tommy never allowed the tension to compromise the final product. Despite his personal dislike, he remained professional to the core, ensuring that every scene met his own high standards. In fact, some crew members believe that his disdain made him even more precise, forcing him to elevate his performance in ways that audiences could only admire. His ability to compartmentalize emotions, focus on his work, and deliver impeccable acting regardless of personal feelings highlights why he is widely regarded as one of the most disciplined actors in Hollywood over time. The story also humanizes Tommy Lee Jones in ways that many fans never considered. Here is a man who could portray steely authority, intense seriousness, and commanding presence on screen. Yet behind the cameras, he carried frustration, resentment, and the emotional burden of dealing with someone he truly could not tolerate. It's a side of him rarely seen, a reminder that even the most talented, disciplined, and respected professionals have limits, and those limits are defined by their personal standards and values. Interestingly, the fallout from this animosity also shaped the culture on set. Other actors and crew members became more aware of professionalism, preparation, and respect for their craft, realizing that Tommy's high standards were non-negotiable. In some ways, the tension forced everyone involved to rise to the occasion, making the final product stronger than it might have been otherwise. What started as a personal clash ended up reinforcing the integrity of the work, showing that even difficult relationships can lead to creative excellence when managed with discipline. Today, Tommy Lee Jones' legacy as a screen legend remains intact, but the story of who he truly hated adds depth to our understanding of him as a person. It reminds us that his remarkable performances were not just the result of talent, but also of an uncompromising work ethic, high personal standards, and the ability to navigate even the most challenging relationships with poise. While fans will continue to celebrate his iconic roles, this behind-the-scenes revelation offers a rare glimpse into the private side of a man who commands respect both on and off the screen. Tommy Lee Jones' experience serves as a lesson in professional integrity, emotional discipline, and the power of personal standards. It proves that even in the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, success is not just about talent, it's about knowing what you will and will not tolerate, holding firm to your values, and delivering excellence no matter the challenges, personal feelings, or obstacles standing in your way.